When you took your first breath of life and God placed that part of Him down in you, do you realize that part of God that's inside of you requires worship? That's God. That's God. And that, only God Himself knows how to worship that. You can't worship that. It takes God to worship that. You ever been driving down the road? You in your office, and you feel something warm come all over you. Can't explain it. And you don't want it to go away. We don't understand how God worships us. We don't understand. How many can tell me how God worships you? How does God worship you?
Come on.
I hope I'm not out of order. I want to do something here. This is God worshiping. Now, God's not going to come up to Brother West and kneel down and say, I'm worshiping that part of me that's in Brother West. God's not going to do that.
No.
Here's God worshiping you. How was your day today, buddy? Did you have a good day?
Yes, sir.
You know I love you, don't you?
Yes, I do.
You remember way back many years ago, you used to go through all them terrors at night. All the things you used to deal with, and you had all this hatred just kind of built up in you. You remember all that?
Yes, sir.
You know, I never left.
I know.
I was there the whole time. There was one time, Wes, that Michael wanted to come down there and run them off, and I wouldn't let him. I said, he's got a part of me in him. He don't need you down there right now.
Amen.
You wait to see what he's going to be in the future. This right here is going to this is God worshiping Brother Wes.
Lord.
I heard somebody say the other day that you reminded them of Peter. You look like him and everything. Peter's excited to meet you. So, from what I've heard, he's already waiting by the gate. But this is God worship. This is our word. God's worship to us. That's God's fellowship. Thank you, Brother West. Sorry. But that's the way God worships us. That's God's desire of us. And He had this thought of you. We can sit here and go through this all night. Our human thoughts cannot contain all this. We can't contain it. But this fellowship brings harmony. We wonder so many times, we got things in our life, we got desires in our life, that we have needs in our life, and we wonder, why is this happening? Why is not this happening? Why am I going through these things that I'm going through? And you wonder. I've checked myself with this so many times. Most of the time it's because I'm not fellowshipping like I'm supposed to. And God's saying, I'm allowing this. I'm allowing this. You're son and daughters of God. The first time God ever had a thought of you, and He desired, in His thoughts you were elected. That never changed. It's an eternal thought. When it leaves God, it comes back to God. It'll never change. Your eternal destination will never change. Ever. It's impossible for your eternal destination to change if you were a thought of God. God's thoughts will always come back to Him. Always. So, even though you go through life and you think, you know what? It's been 3 days. And I meant to listen to this message. I meant to read my Bible. And God's checking you. He'll put something in your life. He'll put a problem. Not because He hates you. It's because He loves you. And He's doing that to turn you the other way. He wants to turn you aside to fellowship. Talk to Him about the problem. God wants to hear about your problems. But let's not get to a point that's all we tell God.
Amen.
What God was telling Brother West, Brother West, God wants to hear that back. God, I had a wonderful day today. Thank you for that. I had the situation of work, and you fixed it just like that. Lord, I want to thank you for that. That's fellowship. To God, that's His children worshiping.